All right, episode number 14. That's actually the cap of season 1, man. So if you guys are tuning in, a big thank you. I'm always grateful for every time that somebody tunes into the channel. It's a small channel, but we're growing and we're pouring out positive stuff. Today's episode is going to be literally full of gems. So find the value in this episode. Stick around to the end. And I promise that it's going to, change your guys' perspective and you guys are going to learn something, which is really what the Needed Podcast is about. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest. His name is Jose Alvarado, better known as your social media guy on Instagram and all these other platforms. So big thank you, bro, for coming.
Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. Blessed.
Yeah. I'm always happy to hear that, because I feel like, it's just like gratitude's like a big thing for me.
100%.
So just hearing people feeling like good about whatever they're doing, it's a good thing. So thank you for the coffee too. I did see that you were raving about this 7 Leaves.
7 Leaves, bro.
So where's this from, or
honestly,
what's
they
the
only
hype
have
around
it. They only have it in LA. Like I would always post, like when I would go to Starbucks and I would post my drink, and I would have people say, "Try 7 Leaves, try 7 Leaves," and I never really tried it until like somebody that I was working with was like, "I'm gonna bring you 7 Leaves."
I thought shit was weed at first. I was like, what are you talking about?
And she brought me some, bro. Watch.
It's good.
Huh.
It has that coffee flavor at the end, but I like that. I don't like my shit too sweet.
Yeah, me either, bro.
So that's why I kind of don't really even like to go to Starbucks no more. It's too much other stuff aside from coffee.
Yeah.
What's this one here?
It's a house coffee.
House coffees are just like a
It's
classic.
just like
This one's nice. Yeah.
it's
How many
fun.
shots of
Shit, I don't even know, bro. But that's the only one that gets me going. But it sucks because like since I live in San Diego, like I can only get it when I'm up in LA.
Oh, okay. Right. So have you always been in San Diego? For those that don't know, like I just want to kind of get a little bit into the background before we get into like what you do.
Yeah, pretty much my entire life. I was actually born in Florida. Okay. As soon as I was born, we went back to Mexico. So lived in Mexico for about 5-6 years, and then from there we came to San Diego and just been there ever since.
Nice. Yeah, San Diego's super chill, right?
Yeah.
It's a kind of like a slower paced
City.
LA, but yeah, I mean, I feel like you have the lifestyle of LA, but also you have that hometown feeling, like the small hometown feeling.
Yeah, man, I think it's super peaceful. One of the things that I love about, I get both contrasts, right? When I come out to LA, it's like work, it's the grind, all that stuff. But then I go back to San Diego and it's like home, relaxed, peace.
Yeah, you get to decompress a little bit, and then it's still really nice, bro. I mean, you have the good weather too.
Super good weather.
So that's cool. So born and raised there, basically. What part of Mexico are your parents from?
Both of my parents are from Michoacan.
Okay, Michigan. Yeah. Everybody's
Michigan,
from Michoacan.
Michigan.
It's like the most populated place, like in terms of like where people are from most of the time.
Yeah, it's crazy because like before, like when I really got into like the whole influencer space, I didn't realize how many people were actually from Michoacan.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty big though, so it's like different sides. Of course, my wife's from there, so she's like a big Michoacan girl.
Yeah,
and she used to always love going in like every year and stuff. Do you visit often or no?
Honestly, no, bro. Like the only time I ever do is like to visit my grandparents. But we live like in such like a deep part of Michoacan. It's called La Mojonera, which is a city that like nobody even knows of. It's like a little town, like a ranchito, like in la sierra.
Yeah.
So even if I tell the closest people that might be closer, which is like
the next biggest, like
like the next
not
biggest,
even a city, honestly, it's like a town,
like a little town. I forget the name, bro. But they wouldn't even know where it's at. It's like you literally have to get like what's called a flecha, which is kind of like what we know as a bus. You get a flecha as like a 30 to 45 minute of just straight dirt road.
Shit, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, where we're from too, my wife and I, I'm from a different part of Mexico, but it's still the ranch. Even though people that are watching you guys believe I'm from the city, I'm really not. Like my parents literally come from a ranch, like dirt, everything. Like everybody knows each other. And all that stuff, but it's cool to go visit, and it's like a perspective thing most of the time, because you get to see your family roots and stuff, so it's always nice. And as far as like your siblings, you have brothers and sisters, anything
I do.
Like that?
I'm the oldest. My youngest sister, she is 17. My sister is 17 as well.
So you have twin sisters?
Yeah, because they're from different dads.
Okay.
So when I was young, my parents split up. And, obviously my dad did his thing, my mom did her thing. So that's why they're such close in age.
Okay.
And then I also have, so in total, we're 5 of us, 2 sisters and 2 younger brothers. My youngest brother is like a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh, wow. Like that young?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you have young parents.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah, my mom is twice my age. So she is, wait, is she? No, she's 20 years older than me. So she's 50.
Oh, wow.
So
but you guys
young.
have a good relationship since it is so close. I mean, she was like a young mom, right?
It was difficult because of what we went through.
Okay.
You know, so long story short, my brother ended up passing away from leukemia, and then from there, my parents split up. And so ever since then, my mom kind of had to kind of like fend for me, for the both of us.
Oh, yeah,
on
sorry
her
to hear
own.
that.
Yeah, and you know, so she didn't make a lot of money, so we would always have to be jumping around from like renting rooms at people's houses or living in a garage and stuff like that. So she was always in like constant, you know, just pressure and stress.
Yeah, it's like survival mode.
Survival
really.
mode, yeah. So survival mode for, you know, countless years, and so because of that, like we would always bump heads, and you know, she was always just very like short tempered. So anything that I would do wrong, she would just explode on me and stuff like that.
I mean,
so.
there was a lot of pressure on her, you know, having to like
100%.
figure it out. So while they were together, was she working, or was your dad like the breadwinner?
No, they were both working.
Okay.
Yeah, they were both working, but obviously their income combined kind of made things a little bit easier.
Right.
You know?
And obviously everything that happened, like that's just something that kind of like it was getting bad as that was happening, and then they just decided to split, or
Not really. Well, long story short, my dad, like during that process, he ended up basically cheating on my mom on a trip that he took to Mexico, and so obviously that, you know, caused the separation between the both of them. So things were never good. You know, they didn't finish off in like good terms and stuff like that. So I was always just kind of like in the middle of the both of
okay.
them.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 10 years old.
Okay, so you're already pretty aware of stuff. Seeing it. Yeah, it's a important age right before you get into your teens, you know, but you're old enough to understand stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of like probably remember instances, you know. So another story people don't know. So my dad actually, when we were little, he ended up going to jail for like 2.5, almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So he was there, and then my mom wasn't working. So like literally when he left, she had to figure it out, survival mode, like you're talking about, right? So she was telling me the story the other day, and I hadn't really heard her side of it. I just knew like my dad, I didn't really dig that deep. But pretty much she had a 6-month-old and my little brother, and then she had me, and then she had my older brother, which was like, we were like 5 and 3, but man, imagine that, like no babysitter. She had to find a job, working 2 jobs at a time. And we were about to move to Mexico, and then some shit went down. So at the end, like we didn't end up staying. Yeah, we ended up staying, but it's a trip because just in that time, like as they explain those stories, you feel like you're in their shoes. Now as we're older, we understand a little bit more, because you can only imagine like having to deal with that stuff. So it's good, man. I mean,
that's why when you were saying earlier about like, you know, she was going in survival mode. Now as an adult, like I understand it. You know?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. Because you probably had your instances where you had to like
100%
something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
like so now it's like now I understand her, so I don't like hold grudges towards it anymore.
Right,
you know
right,
I mean?
right. Exactly. Yeah, I think as we're older, we start to understand. But it's good that you put yourself in those shoes too, because sometimes it could just be like growing up. Maybe it's only what you feel. You're not really looking at every side of
both
things.
perspectives.
But you know, thankfully, I think, you know, those moments of adversity and just like that strong like family background kind of allows you to like move a certain way now as an adult. 100%. So how do you think that's made you like transition? Because I know you're very like positive, very goal driven. You know, how do you think that's like helped you?
I think one of the biggest things that I learned from that was just that, like, you know, you have to survive. You know what I mean? Like you have everything that it takes to like do shit on your own. You know, and my mom was always very structured, very disciplined, very committed. Even when she was sick, she would always show up to work. Like no matter how she felt, she would always show up. So even when it came to me and I felt sick, like even, you know, as a kid, you're like, oh, I have a cold, so I'm going to stay home. She was like, nope, you're going to go to school. You have to take the trolley, you have to take the bus. And if you go to the nurse's office, and if the nurse says that you're sick, then you can come home. If not, like you can't.
You went through the whole
yeah.
So you were really taking all these different ways of transportation to get to the place.
Yeah, and I was already feeling like shit. I had a headache, you know, cough and stuff like that. But you know, that always kind of like, now that I'm older, I realize that she taught me how to like always show up no matter how I feel.
Right. I mean? And that's super important right now, because I think people look for any little excuse to just not do something, whether it's like showing up or just even going after whatever
just
goals.
Even trying,
like,
bro.
Any little thing that bothers them is just the instant like, all right, I'm gonna just wait.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that I see a lot of the times, because like I'm pretty sure you get the exact same question as like, how do you do this or how do you do that? I'm like, literally just start. You know, and people have such a hard time just starting because again, they're just so fearful of like committing to something.
A failure too, you know?
Yeah, but people don't realize that the failure is not just like, you only fail when you stop, right?
Yeah.
You'll take a lesson from that and you fell forward. You always keep pressing forward even after you learn that lesson. It's not about you go there, you quote unquote fail, and then it ends. You have to keep pressing, because that's going to give you the characteristics and the skill sets to become the best version of
Yeah,
yourself.
I always preach that, man. It's something I've really been like emphasizing as of late. Just moments of adversity are going to really tell you who you are, you know. And if you're not able to learn how to navigate through those tough times, it's going to be more of a struggle for those good things to come to you. Because I mean, it's easy to enjoy the wins and when things are flowing well, like that's just easy. But they're rare, bro. I mean, most of the time, your back is against the wall every single day.
Yeah, literally when you said
as a creative,
yeah,
like. Every day is a challenge. Like what are you gonna be defined as when the day is over? You know? It's just like flip the script. Even when shit happens, it could be the smallest thing, dude. Like your tire getting popped, and then it's just like, oh, my day's ruined. Yeah, but in reality, it's just brush it off, move forward. Reset. Yeah,
and I heard you said that yesterday on your stories, and I was like, that's fucking accurate. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people don't realize that. Like they're always like, how do you stay so motivated? It's not that you stay motivated. It's just you just know that not every day is going to be perfect. And those perfect days are rare.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. And I think sometimes we make it look easy, you know, because most of the time we are only posting highlight reels. And I think like the beauty of having this platform now is that people get to see the raw side of things and, you know, really helping you guys understand that there's a lot of things that go unnoticed. But, you know, I want to be able to be transparent and to not like sugarcoat anything because anything that you guys do, like, you know, it's going to come with a price and it's like, what are you willing to pay? You know, like 100%. There's a lot of adversity in the journey of success and whatever that success is for you. Like it's going to come with a lot of challenges. So
100%.
it's just,
it's part of the process.
You build yourself up. You know what I'm talking about? You feel like you're built up after years and years and it's just like you take it to the chin and you just
keep pressing forward, bro.
And when shit happens that you've already been through or just anything, it's almost like, you like the challenge. You're like, okay, here we go.
Because you know what you're made of. You know, I think a lot of times like the reason why people fail is because they're so attached to the outcome.
Right. Yeah, the results. Everybody's result driven. I think when you guys shift the perspective into more like, you know, doing it out of love and enjoying that process and you know, I think like things just change drastically for you and you know, I think people need to, you know, maybe feed their mind different things, maybe who they're around. Like you guys got to make big changes, and every single level that you guys ever reach is going to require more of you and a different version of you. So you can't really bring in those old ways into like whatever you want to do. That's why shit isn't working out. And until you guys see that and change that, it's not going to make sense, you know? So
one of the clips, one of the nuggets that I heard recently that really stuck with me is like, you're only as good as your bad habits. You know, so meaning that at your lowest points, like on the days that you don't feel motivated, you're gonna be as good as like the things that you do the worst.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the times, like how you were saying, people fail to realize that it's not about the destination; it's more about the process. Because in the process is where you build the characteristics to get to the end goal, time and time again.
Right. Yeah,
it's like you were saying, every time you achieve that goal, you're always gonna come up with another one.
Yeah,
but that's gonna require a different version of you.
Exactly.
And what happens if they take that away from you? Like you know that you can go and get it back.
Yeah, of course. We're always gonna like, you know, stand back up, and you know a lot of the times people are afraid to do that, you know, and any little hiccup along the way, you know, sometimes it's just easier to run back, you know. But in reality, it's you know, are you worthy of your wishes? You know, this is what you asked for, right? Like this is what you wanted. This is what it comes with. So it's just really building that tough skin. And, you know, I think with time, as long as people come in and just go after whatever, like you guys are going to figure it out. And this will make sense to you at one point. Like, you know, with this entire podcast, like there's going to be a lot of good things we talk about, but only certain things are going to stick. And I think as you guys, you know, go throughout your day or week and you guys go through something, hopefully you guys remember something that we mentioned on here because it's going to stick. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, your content, of course, what you do, like how did you get started? Because I know you do videography, different things. So really, what did you start with and what are you doing now?
So I started being a videographer. My whole thing has always been marketing. Originally, I started being an intern at this mortgage company where I thought I was going to become a loan officer. Because at that time, with my level of awareness that I had at the time, I thought real estate was going to be, you know, the only thing that was going to change my life, right? It's the only thing that I knew I had some sort of access to. During that process as an intern, I started, you know, helping them with like some video content. It was shitty, but it was something that I was passionate about. During that process, obviously I started getting better. I started learning. I started dedicating more time into learning how to like use Premiere Pro and how to do transitions and color grade and music and all that stuff. And long story short, the president of that mortgage company liked what I was doing for the office in San Diego. And he had me come up to Irvine to meet with him, gave me a job offer, and I took it. And then,
wow.
yeah, so that moment was when I was like, oh shit, you know, because I come from like a very limited mindset background. So when that moment happened, I was like, oh damn, like I didn't know I can actually make a living off of doing video. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you know, it was a little bit more like the blueprint was just like find a good job and stay there kind of idea.
It has to be a 9 to 5 or like
go to school.
That requires a degree or stuff like that's the only thing that I knew, right?
That was the only form of success, you know. Coming from a Hispanic background, it's very much limited. Like that, you know.
Yeah. So kind of when I got that little bit of a taste, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like it gave me the confidence to be like, all right, I'm gonna go all in. You know what I mean? So
my mom was like that too a lot. Like just, you know, don't stop going to school. Why are you gonna cut hair? Like, stay in school. And then I flipped the script. Eventually down the line, we created something good out of it, and now they're proud of it. But it's a little different. It's a different route
because they don't know it. You know what I mean? They don't know anybody within their close circle that has done that before. But yeah, so maybe about 6 months into that, you know, I realized that it wasn't where I wanted to be, just because their way of wanting to approach things was old school, but trying to like leverage social media to do that. And so I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna do things different. I've always been about doing shit different. I don't like doing what everybody else is doing. So I decided to like take the risk and, you know, go all in and build my own business from it. And, you know, fucking maxed out my credit cards, bought a laptop, bought a new camera, a gimbal, drone, everything, and just went all in, you know, and you know, now we're here.
Yeah. So that kind of just led you to start doing that. And then on the marketing side, that was on the side, or was all part of your package?
It was kind of like, everything was always marketing, right? They always like everything that they do is like about pitching their products or their services, right? So one of the things that I didn't connect with was like their old school methods, right? Because I've always been forward thinking. My whole
innovative.
Like my business name is Visionary Media for the same thing, because it's always forward thinking. It's about creating something new that hasn't been done yet, or, you know, just being outside of the box. And then, so when I launched my business, a lot of my clients were real estate professionals, right? And they were all doing the exact same thing, just posting flyers on social media. Contact me if you need this. Contact me if you do that. Like cheesy shit, you know? It's boring. Like everybody's doing that. Like, that's not gonna
It's just
work.
another ad, really.
Yeah. So me, like one of the things that I love is like psychology and sociology, you know? So I'm very analytical, and I analyze how people are. Like I'll analyze patterns, and that gives me a sense of like knowing how that person is, right? Based on characteristics and patterns that they do. So I was like, you know what, like what are some of the things that, you know, a potential home buyer, what are some of their fears, or what's stopping them from actually reaching out to achieve home ownership? And I was like, you know what, income, credit, and down payment. And those are the biggest things, right? And so I was like, you know, what about if we put videos addressing those misconceptions and kind of giving them a base or a foundation as to where they can kind of get an idea where they're at without having to reach out, just kind of giving them that peace of mind. So I started doing that, started doing client testimonials, you know, creating misconception videos, started running ads, learning about Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And then my business just kind of took off from there, you know?
Nice. Yeah. Very good asset to like all the businesses you worked for, I'm sure, just because you did your homework that deep, and you're able to just have a different approach with like pretty much anything that you're doing in terms of marketing. But that makes sense. You know, I think it's funny how you said that, like you're very good at reading people. I feel like I have that. I just didn't know really like
what it was
or the term, but sociology, psychology, you said, right? Too. Yeah. It's just, you see people's patterns. That's why too, a lot of times too, like we're talking about feeling motivated and stuff, and people come with these ideas of what they want to do, but just automatically you read them and you just know, like, bro, you still got a lot of work to do in other areas before we get there yet.
Yeah. Or a lot of times people just say that they want it, but they're not really willing to like pay the price.
Like it shows up and then it's like, oh fuck, never mind. I don't think I'm ready for this.
Yeah,
you know?
Because they think it's because I think, for example, like let's say you're the end goal for a lot of people that, you know, start cutting hair, right? To be in the position that you're at. But they don't realize like the price that you had to pay to get to that.
Yeah.
You know, like only you know it.
Yeah. And I was just talking about that too with a buddy of mine that, you know, like showing up and paying booth rent's easy. Like that's the easiest shit. Like as a barber, that was just lovely, right? But managing a business, you know, having a brand, creating a space, an establishment, more so that took years to just get like that value. That's hard. You know, having a team of 10, 12 people, keeping them interested, you know, all these other different things like forward thinking, you know what I mean? Just being ahead of the game. That's hard. You know, that's the difficult part. And I think sometimes, you know, people are so small minded, they don't really see everything. And I'm never one to really throw my situation at people, because sometimes people like to, you know, kind of like put their story out there. But, you know, we all have one, man. It's just, you know, what are you going to do? Complain or keep working?
100%.
So you know, I'm very cutthroat when it comes to like who I hire and what I'm looking for. but I think it filters out the people that aren't willing to sign up for that commitment. Because I tell them straight up, that's what it is here. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm really, you know, putting you in a space that's gonna allow you to build, and for the real world, really, because you know, if you leave here, it better be your best move after this. It's almost like you graduate, bro, from a school, like. You know, it's just like an accelerated way to get to the next level, and being around a space, you know, in an area that's not like known for that. It's known for just negative shit. It's just like creating a positive environment. But you know, sometimes people cancel themselves out of anything. You know, that's why like with anything that I've done and do now, it's just creating high level shit, because I think it's just like only certain people. I only want to attract 5 people. But there's those 5 people, the way that they think and the way that they're willing to commit to something, there's probably thousands around the world, you know? So I just got to find more of those, but instead of just creating something for everybody.
And I think that's like, you know, you obviously, you know, you attract what you put out, right? And I think, like you said, like that filters out the people that you don't want in your team at the end of the day, because the only thing that they're going to cause is going to be problems and confusion,
right?
With, you know, whatever you have internally. And I think ultimately, like that approach, because I think the reason why you hold yourself to that standard is because you know ultimately how much you're going to impact their life. But they don't realize that, because the only thing that they see is the process and the challenge that they have to go through.
And the price.
And the difficulty level, right? But at the end of the day, it's like you already have a proven concept. You are the end goal for certain people. So why wouldn't people pay the price to shorten that time gap?
Right.
And that's the value that a lot of times people don't see, because they're not aware in that aspect, right? It's like a lot of times people say that there is no shortcut to success, and I think that I disagree with that. I think the real shortcut to success, or, you know, quote unquote shortcut, is having a mentor or someone to like guide you, because that shortens the time span that is going to take you to achieve what you want to achieve, right? But that comes with a price, because it's not even, it's a fraction of what you've had to lose in terms of money, time, energy.
Bro, we're climbing the fucking highest mountain, you know, building ourselves up. So it's 100%. Just like creating an easier pathway for those that are willing to sign up to it. It's really like, you know, it's battle proven, really.
It's a proven concept, fail proof.
And that's just that, you know, just having a mentor period. I think, you know, it's very underrated. I've had quite a few, and people that you guys have never heard of. I've never posted them or anything like that. Older guys, you know, like, you know, late 40s, early 50s, clients of mine, people that I've worked, manufacturers, just people I build relationships with over time, and most of that's through character, you know, just like them. I don't know, for some reason, just the willingness to help me and to put the right things in my ear. Because it's so important, bro. Like, you don't really realize how many lives you're changing. It's very underrated. Like you said, they don't see it, but it's super underrated, and it's so important because it allows you to not fuck up as much, you know?
100%.
You know, we had you know, sometimes it sucks though, because like I said, it's almost like they got to go through the shit just to see.
Sometimes that's the only way people are going to learn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, man. But, you know, I was talking about like a Ninja Academy that I was going to do, and I was speaking about like the subscription, like academy thing.
The model,
but I had to go back and reconstruct everything, because I thought it was just something really easy that I was just gonna like help somebody out. But man, I'm building literally a year's worth of content just to really be able to take it that serious, because that's how serious it is, you know. So at least when it comes out, I know it's gonna be fire, and it's very like what you said, you know, just helping people out, and it's really for a select few that are willing to take that.
I think one of the things that you know, obviously I'm grateful for you having me on this podcast. If I can give you a takeaway, is something that has really stuck in my mind recently, because I was kind of going through like a challenging moment where I was kind of realizing, like, man, like I'm trying to fucking help these people and they don't even want to like help themselves, right? But this quote really stood out to me that says that saviors get crucified. And the reason why I say is because a lot of times, like, the reason, I think at the end of the day, like when you pay for a mentorship, there's certain things that it's not like it's not necessarily like stuff that's like a magic formula or whatever. It's just stuff that just a little way of wording it differently just clicks and registers in your brain different. That changes everything for you. Right. A mentorship is literally that. Whether it's like, you know, learning how to like restructure, how to like, you know, be consistent, how to see certain things in terms of like how you approach it and stuff like that. Like that's what this podcast is. You know, is you're literally mentoring people on how to like be more aware and rewire their way of thinking to ultimately give them their own version of success at a faster pace.
And you know, the crazy part is like when I do the ones that are more on the inspirational side, less people tend to tune in and listen. But like I said, to me, at the end of the day, it's not even about views. I know YouTube is very entertainment driven, but for those that find the value in this, you know, I pay attention to all the comments. And I'm glad that it's making a big change. Right? I mean, like I told you, we don't even know what we're doing for people. You know, this podcast might really make somebody want to get up and go do something.
And the biggest thing, bro, is like the people that are action takers are not even gonna talk. They're gonna go and do. You know, and the reason why I say that is because like a lot of the times, like when you'll have people reach out that have an interest in what you're doing, right? Like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you reach back out, you tell them what it takes, and then they don't ever do anything, right?
Yeah, you get no reply.
But they're always they're giving you the exact same question. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? Because I've had that happen. Like people like ask me the same question like every other month. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I gave you the answer. Like
it's been half a year.
You know what I mean? But then you also have those moments where like you actually get to meet somebody in person and it's like, hey, because of you, I did this. Like I had that incident happen with this guy who has a podcast. I was on his podcast like maybe a couple months ago. He was saying that the reason why he ended up starting that podcast was because of a book that I recommended. And that book that I recommended ultimately gave him the freedom and like the mental peace to be like, I'm going to go after this. Even if nobody supports me, even if nobody knows what I'm trying to do, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Nice,
and his podcast is killing it.
You know? And, you know, I've had instances like that too, where just like a little talk will just inspire somebody to go do it. And that's the best thing, you know.
That's what you
really
live for.
pushing people. And I feel like all that good stuff always comes back to you, you know. So let's get a little bit more into, you know, what's coming next for you. You know, how is it being in the spotlight? I know now you're kind of in the mix of like doing your work, but then also around influencers. So how's that been for you?
Honestly, it's different. You know, I think I'm trying to like pivot and adjust as I go because again, like the majority of people that know me from like YouTube and like the influencer aspect of it. But I've been doing business prior to this, right? Like my main source of income isn't being an influencer.
Right.
Like my source of income is my business, right? So I've kind of had to like navigate towards that because even though people are getting to know me because of this, like of the entertainment, like I want to use that awareness and provide value to people.
Exactly.
You know, because like you were saying, like
that's what
my
I said,
whole thing wasn't this and that. It's this, you know, being able to give back and just kind of like shine light into the things that got me to where I'm at. But it's interesting, you know what I mean? Because obviously a lot of times people think that they know you more than they know you, so they're gonna make their own assumptions of who they think you are.
There you wrote the story, huh?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But
you're the villain.
Yeah, like they'll choose to see you however they want to perceive you. Like, and some people are nasty. Like, I don't know how some people get so invested into like somebody's life. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
Bro,
it's
I'm
like,
trying to find time for myself still.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I know that even if I don't like something, like I'm not gonna take the time and like comment something that doesn't serve
takes
a purpose.
A lot. Imagine
it's a
just writing
commitment, bro. That's a job.
Writing something negative like that, it's like, damn, how do people do that?
And people do that consistently. Like I've seen that, like in like, let's say for example, X person says something on this video or this post or whatever, and then every single other one they'll like be there to comment something negative. That's a commitment. Like, I know I don't have that interest or that passion to like, you know, if you do something that I don't like, I'm not gonna be there. I'm like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Entertain it, really.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that you know, my wife and I through the years have like learned to just not worry about. I mean, me personally, I really don't give a fuck. You know, like I've always been very like positive in terms of like I see it and I'm just like, hey, don't worry about it. But everybody's different, you know.
Yeah.
I think now she's built like thicker skin to just like brush stuff off. Been there, done that, heard it all. You know, so I think I relate to you in that sense too, where like, you know, you do have the platform. You know, like I told you, my wife's been in social media. I always had the barber background, and she'll tell you straight up, like, I've never cared to even just be involved. I said, do your thing. I want you to have your own thing separately, whatever. Up until we moved is when I really started to be a little bit more active and more vocal. Of course, through the podcast, you're more vulnerable, so people get to know you on a different level. But it's been good, and obviously people have stuck around because they find some kind of value in the content. And I think I'm really just getting started. You know, I'm in the middle of like building businesses, but also be more open and just providing shit that I like, you know. So I was telling you about the ideas I have for upcoming stuff. So I do like your content on there. So what can they find on there on your YouTube or on your Instagram?
So
I'm gonna tag all your stuff so that way people that don't follow you get to see like what to expect from.
So on my YouTube, I'm starting to like I'm kind of building it a little bit different, right? Obviously I have like my personal stuff, which is just my life and stuff. But what I also want to incorporate is like I don't want it to just be entertainment. Like I still want it to be educational. So I want to like separate it to where there's like different categories within my channel, to where it's like I have moments like this where I can sit down and talk to somebody like yourself and just talk about mindset, awareness, skill sets, things that people don't know about, credit, business funding, real estate, so many different niches so that people can like, you know, educate themselves and be more aware of what's out there to like potentially change their life in their own way, right? I'm not trying to sell them anything or impose anything. It's just, you know, whatever you can get from it, like go ahead and.
Is this a marketing scheme? I'm playing. What are you trying to pitch of? Get to a point. No, I'm kidding.
No. Like it's like how I was telling you. Like I generally love to like give out information because I know what it's like to start from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to be a bakery boy. I used to be, you know, I used to clean toilets. I used to be an assistant manager at Little Caesars. So I know how long it's taking me to like get to where I'm at today, and I want to like just give that back. I don't know. Like call me weird, call me whatever, but I just generally love putting that stuff out there, right?
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, like personal stuff, that inspirational shit, and just kind of making people aware, like, of the real work that it takes, you know, to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's not easy. And then when it comes to like my IG, you get a little bit of both. You know, you get my work, the people that I've worked with, you know, stuff about me, my family, just stuff like that, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
Try to be a little versatile.
Yeah, definitely. I think people relate to all, you know, they get inspired, but also, you know, you hit home for people depending like what you post in terms of family. So, I mean, there's so many ideas. I mean, just seeing your reels and just like motivational stuff. I told you that's kind of what I'm trying to get more consistent with. I just feel like sometimes it's hard to balance out the time, but I know what I want to put out, and it's very similar to like your content. So, you know, it's inspiring. It's good to be able to network. Obviously 100%. Here, this is networking right now. Yeah. And it's just so important to surround yourself with those kind of people and that energy, man, because if you're in the room, and obviously if you're the best person there that only thinks that way, you're in the wrong fucking room, bro.
100%.
I mean, it's just like I tell anybody that I hire, I'm like, why do you not want to be in here? I mean, you're around people that are
go-getters,
booked, that are motivated. Like everybody in there somehow has the right mindset. So like collaborate together, you know, and sometimes people don't know how to work well with each other. It's just this ego thing. Maybe it's a male thing. Entitlement, like just a bunch of shit, bro.
I think it's probably just like the fact that they're in the same niche. You know what I mean? But like,
it's a competition, right?
Yeah, like it's like I don't have a problem. Like whenever somebody reaches out to me about a certain project that I generally am not interested in, or it's just something that I don't do, like I'll send it out to somebody else. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, people gotta realize something. Like everybody does a different thing, and everybody has a different style. Like people are gonna fuck with you for who you are, and same thing, people are not gonna fuck with you because of who you are. Right. You know, so everybody gravitates towards different people. Like people that, let's say you were a content creator, right? People might love you for who you are and love your work, but they might not like my style. You know, and that's okay. Like there's plenty of room for everybody, and I think because the majority of us come from like a very limited mindset, we tend to like have this protectiveness of what little we have, right? But until you're able to kind of expand your mind and realize that there's literally room enough for everybody. I know a lot of people say that, but it's the truth. You know, there's literally room for everybody. There's so many millions of people that you might not ever get to service.
Right.
Like, and just think about it that way, right? But, you know, I kind of, again, like I said, I feel like since they're in the same niche, they think that, oh, if I collab with so-and-so, then I'm going to lose my clients, or my clients are going to go to him now, or, you know, vice versa.
It's just funny because a lot of times that's what it is. So like for anybody out there, like guy or girl listening, you know, I want to say, I mean, I feel like guys also try to figure out how to like push forward, man. So just like a piece of advice of just like breaking through those barriers. You know, obviously you were talking about your background. I feel like at a young age, I just already knew what I wanted to do. And, but I've always been able to just shift lanes into a higher level every single year. I was just better. So like, what are some pieces of advice for anybody maybe stuck in a situation now, or just trying to elevate where they're currently at, like scaling in a way?
Honestly, it's all about relationships. You know what I mean? Like the more people that you know, the more that you become aware, the more things that you learn. It's always about the consistent improvement, right? And a lot of times, like people fail to realize that just because something works doesn't mean that it can be done better, right? And it's perfect. I'll give you an example. Before, when I first kind of started in my career, I used to charge super cheap for what I do now, right? Until I realized about how like somebody, my boy Jesus, he's the one that actually kind of helped me restructure my whole business model and how I package things and stuff like that. And so because of that, it's like now I get to work less, get paid more, and just have a lot more time.
Yeah, freedom.
Right? Yeah, I have a lot more freedom now. But to be able to do stuff like this, you know what I mean? To continue building and chase the vision in terms of where I'm trying to go. But it really, you know, comes back down to that is like put yourself around people who are doing better than you. Don't let your ego get in the way. Like always be, in order for you to be a great leader, you have to learn how to be a good follower. And what I mean by that is that you always have to be very intentional with the people that you follow, the people that, you know, you tend to take advice from, the people that you tend to surround yourself with. Because your friends that you can have fun with are always going to be there. But opportunity and time just keeps going by super fucking fast.
Oh yeah,
you know,
shit'll get
and if you don't maximize on the momentum, like you're literally gonna be stuck doing the exact same thing 10, 15 years from now and realize like there's people that may be less qualified than you that are doing greater things, but just because of the fact that they continue to like learn and, you know, be surrounding themselves with people that were doing better than them or could just shift something within their brain to like ultimately get them into a better position.
That's how that young, ambitious guy gets the higher position from the guy that's been there 10 years because but if you were to ask that guy that's been there for 10 years and you tell him what's required of him, he won't want to do the work. So that's the exact reason why the other guy took it. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like anything, man. It doesn't even matter in terms of years. Like, I think there's a misconception about getting there fast. Like, I just don't like when people try to skip steps. You know, like you said, you got to follow before you can lead. I mean, you can't be a fucking general without being a soldier. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go through the mud first, man. So a lot of that really like allows you to learn, like you said, the characteristics that it takes to, you know, I feel like if you can't do this shit at this level, how the fuck are you gonna do it when you're at a high level? How are you gonna lead a team?
Yeah, it always requires a different
like selfish, or when you only think about what's good for you, not for what's good for those around you. You know, like you have to be very like open-minded in that sense. And you know, it's funny because even me, like before I opened up my shop, I think there were so many years of people say, "Man, you should open one, you should open," but I wasn't ready. But as soon as I was, you know, an owner, my whole thing was just like I established myself enough for years I could cut down my schedule, work less, still get paid more, but now have time for a team, you know? So it's all worth the wait as long as you're progressing every day.
100%, bro. And yeah, like you said, you know, you always got to be a student of the game. Like being a student is going to get you further in life than, you know, trying to like impose your will all the way through, you know? And I think one of the things that got me to where I'm at today, looking back, is I was just naive, you know? I just would fantasize about a thing being a certain way and I would chase after it and then it would happen. But once you've been doing things for so long, you kind of built this like cage in a way, you know? You start, just because things work, you kind of get stuck in that, you know? Like you're no longer seeking growth, you're no longer seeking mental awareness and stuff like that. You get so caught up on doing the daily tasks that you forget what got you there in the first place.
Yeah, you forget how hungry you were to begin with. I was just talking about that too, that I don't know why people think that as time goes, shit's just gonna get easier. Like they want validation, they want to be rewarded, and it's just like, bro, like you know how many years I haven't even pat myself on the back. I'm barely learning more about self-love just because now I'm just like self-care. Like I got to do this, you know. And yesterday I was talking about that a little bit on my story, but it's just like I really don't do that. And it's just like any little thing people do, they would just want a fucking trophy for it right there, and then they want to feel like, okay, I can put my feet up now and chill, and they want to demand all these things when it's just like, bro. I don't want to be fake. Like I'm not gonna reward you. You know, I'll give you your flowers when it's time, but there's more work to do.
Yeah, there's always more work to do. You know, and I think that's also one of the biggest things that I've learned in my career. You know, like because I'm always constantly chasing, right? That sometimes I forget to just kind of like be like, okay, I deserve, you know, this little downtime. But that little downtime doesn't mean weeks. You know, it doesn't mean months. It just quick, you know, refresh, restart, and go at it again. A little
reset, and then keep going. Yeah, it's important though. It's important because I think.
You burn out if you don't.
In order to, like, we get all this information, right? Like we do our homework, we add all this value, but you need that moment to decompress and just kind of take all of that in and come back stronger because you will get burned out, 100%. You know, in the entrepreneur life. So let's speak a little bit about just being an entrepreneur, having the passive income. I know that you were posting something about like the car rentals. That's who you're around. Christian was mentioning a few things. Shout out to my son.
Your hijo.
If you made it this far, shout out to Christian. But if you didn't, you lost it.
He stays losing it though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in my career is how to diversify, right? So I think as a creator, or you know, for example, let's give it a title, as a videographer, you get so caught up on like the things that are done within that industry, right? To where it's like as you grow, you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy a better camera, I'm gonna buy a better lens, I'm gonna buy more equipment, I'm gonna buy this and that, which is cool. Like always be a student of the game, but there's got to come a point that you got to realize that you have to take care of yourself too, you know, because a lot of times we do that to take care of the client, but we forget to take care of ourselves, right? And you know, if you do have the money, like diversify. Like diversifying is gonna be able to like ultimately give you the time and the freedom to like be better. Even if you don't have gigs, you have something else that can carry you through that moment, right? Like for example, like whenever I travel, like my cars are booked out. So as I'm working, my cars are working for me too, and they're paying for themselves, right? So
making money in your sleep.
Exactly. And so a lot of times what I try to like put out there is like learn from different niches, like study from your clients, like learn from them. Don't just have it be a transactional like business. Like if you meet somebody that's doing something dope, ask them questions. You know, say, hey, how can I structure my stuff to ultimately be able to buy some real estate, or how can I get started with this, or how can I learn about this, and like be smart with your money and put it in different places that can help you grow as you're growing in your own business, right? So I tend to focus a lot about that. And one of my biggest clients that I travel a lot with, his name is Ramel. He does commercial real estate. And the way that he teaches us is like how to like get into commercial real estate with zero money out of pocket. So he talks about business funding, how to structure your credit, you know, how to like leverage SBA to like essentially literally buy commercial property with like zero money out of pocket.
Yeah. I know it's a little bit easier than buying like an actual home, right? Because it requires less in terms of like putting money down, or just like you said, zero down.
Yeah. So kind of like what the thing that I like about commercial is like, yes, what you were saying, but you can do it through your business.
Okay.
So you don't have to use your personal stuff to like qualify for it, right? But then also too, the beauty about commercial real estate is that they add on the potential earnings of that property onto your income.
Okay.
So it's literally helping you. That property literally helps you like own it, right? And in real estate and residential, they use a percentage. I think it's about 25% of the potential earnings of the property. If it's like a triplex, fourplex, they use a percentage of that to help you qualify, but it's not as big as, you know, commercial. And the beauty of commercial too is that since it's a business, you don't have to wait for other commercial properties around the area to appreciate in value. As long as you can add income to that building, and it actually appreciates its value. So for example, like one of the things that he does a lot is that he buys these storage units.
Okay.
They have a consistent income every single month. They don't abide by tenant law, so meaning that if somebody doesn't pay, you can literally quote unquote evict them, sell their storage, and you make your money back.
So that's where the Storage Wars show comes on, where they don't pay,
Yeah,
and they give their shit away.
Exactly.
Okay,
they sell that at an auction, right?
So you guys learned something.
Yeah.
That's where they follow the gems at, huh?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so adding to that, you know, you can add other sources of income to that property. So for example, you can add a vending machine, and let's say that vending machine now brings in additional $1,500 a month. You multiply that times 12. That's added income that appreciates the property. Let's say you have, you know, like a little packaging center within that storage facility where you sell envelopes, where you sell bubble wrap, where you sell a bunch of other stuff. You're adding income to that. So it's not just about owning the property. It's considered a business. Mm-hmm. So for example, like let's say you buy the property for $600,000. If you add, let's say, another $100,000 worth of income to that property, which is like about what, 90 something hundred a month, you actually can take that property from 600K to like 2 million.
Wow.
Just by adding additional sources of income to that facility.
Yeah, it's interesting with the commercial thing, because I was just talking about that. Like, I feel like I want to get a commercial building eventually. And what I really wanted to do was, this will probably be back home. I just feel like there's, you know, nothing really like that in the area. So I wanted to do a commercial building. I'm over here giving my ideas, but it's cool. You know, not everybody's going to do it, though. Not everybody's going to do it. Not everybody's going to outwork me. You get me? So like what I want to do is do that. And then basically create just like studios. Like I feel for the entire beauty industry, like, you know, SMP, microblading, body sculpting, barbers, you know, hairstylists, because I've been in that studio before and I'm just like, okay, I can do this, you know, and then you create so many opportunities, you know, you do 30, 40 studios, and there's a lack of that in the area. People would love to just have their own little business within my business.
100%.
It's like I'm running a station, but in reality, you get the freedom to do what you want in the space. And I think like it would be dope to just have something like that. And you learn so many things, you know?
Yeah. And I would,
it's a cool thing.
And I would support that 100% because I feel like, you know, ever since COVID, a lot of stuff has to be a little bit more like private. There's a lot more creative spaces like popping up, right? So it's gonna be more of a norm for stuff like that to happen. Like, and you're absolutely right. Your head is in the right space when it comes to creative stuff like that, right? Because we're all creatives, we're all individuals. A lot of people started businesses when COVID started to happen, right? Because they had to become resourceful. And you know, adding to that, one of the biggest things that me and Ramel were talking about, the guy who does the commercial properties, is that when he buys a storage unit that actually is an indoor one, you can actually create studios within those storage units that you can rent out to add additional source of income. Okay. So now you're bringing up the value like crazy because you're making money every single day. Let's say a storage unit costs you $80 to like $300. Well, if now that's a creative studio, you can charge $300 for that space, right? So that's adding daily income to that property, which appreciates it like crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because right now we're gonna go shoot some content, and then we're paying by the hour to take video and pictures. So it's kind of like that. in a sense. But that's really cool to hear. You know, I feel like shit, I'm learning, which is the beauty of it too. I love being able to feed my brain the positive stuff. And, you know, I think so far this episode, you know, there's like, you know, Christian's head's probably hurting right now. Shut it off.
Like, I don't know what they're talking about,
yeah.
but sounds cool.
That's funny, man. But that's really cool. You know, ultimately, I think the freedom will come by creating these other sources of income. And
you have to diversify, bro.
Yeah,
that's where freedom is at.
And like I told you too, like I think like, you know, when a certain thing that you're doing is just at a stall, it's just like time to elevate that. You know, right now it's funny because for the S&D brand, everybody's like, hey bro, when's your product coming back out? They're like, it's a drought right now. Everybody's feeding for pomades and stuff, but they don't understand that I'm reconstructing that business on the back end right now. And we're coming out with like a whole new look, just better quality products, more products, a lot of stuff. But, you know, a lot of that stuff takes time. So, you know, I'm really in the building stages right now, but I think, you know, as that revenue starts to come in, I definitely want to throw it in the right areas. And, you know, I'm really want to create opportunities for people. I think anything like that, like you said, you know, it's cool to also see that there's a lot of upside to like getting into the real estate side of things.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier than
the housing shit. I don't know. It's a little headache. I don't know. I just don't see myself like, especially I think it's because it's so intimate because people are living in these places, and that is a lot harder.
And that is the exact same because he owns like his portfolio is like 4 million in like just residential stuff, right? So his plan is to like dump all the residential and just go strictly commercial because of the exact same reason, right? He's not getting late night calls that, you know, the fucking pipe went out or the heater is not working.
The stupidest thing, huh?
Yeah, you know, there's a flood or stuff like that because those are headaches. A lot of times people don't realize that people make residential real estate sound sexy because of the equity, but they don't realize like on a property like that, if you're renting it out, your margins are like $200 to $300, especially in California. Like something small can happen within the house. Like now you're on the downside. And if you don't make enough money to like offset that, it's going to hurt you more than it's going to benefit you, right? But with commercial, like you said, you know, there is no tenants living there. There's no people living there. There's no like, there's none of that, right? It's literally people storing their stuff that they might not even come and see ever again, just in that, you know, so they don't have to worry about late night calls and stuff like that. And his whole thing, what I love about his is that he's like making it different, right? He's making everything like virtual. So he's going to have virtual cameras so that he can just see when people go in and out. He's going to have a keypad so that people can just go in, put their keypad, go in.
Exactly.
Nobody even has to be on the facility. You know,
that's pretty much the way I would structure the studio, which, you know, people out here rent studios, you know, and that's how it is. It's your key code to enter the building, 24-hour access. You have your own business within the business. You probably, like, for example, right now, let's say people are paying me $1,300 a month booth rent for one chair, but now they're going to pay $1,500 a month, but you get your own studio. It just makes more sense. Maybe even $2,000. You could have another chair in there, split it with somebody else, and then cut the price in half.
100%.
And now you have your guys' little business, and it's just cool. But like I said, you know, I think down the line that's going to create the freedom. And
yeah,
you know,
I think you know, one of the like kind of literally what you were saying, like everything is about value, right? So for example, like maybe you could add on, like let's say you understand the importance of creating content. You're like, hey, you know, if you're going to be
cool. I already know what you're gonna say.
Like if you're gonna be part of this team, we're gonna have somebody that comes in every Monday, whatever day. You're gonna create content now that's elevating your brand, that's giving you more exposure. You're growing, but that's gonna come at a higher cost.
Or also too, I could create a like a content room within that big building where it's just like
exactly.
You know, $300 a day and then not playing pretty much. But yeah, it's like you guys want to use the content room, you guys could film.
Yeah.
There's equipment just like right now
everything
where we're gonna
ready,
go.
like all this stuff, you know.
But literally where we're going right now, the guy has everything laid out. You just bring your stuff, but it wouldn't be bad to just have something like that, you know. And now you're bringing more value to your overall building, but then of course you're adding value to those people because they have access to that stuff.
And now they can charge more. They can like obviously be exposed to like a lot more people. You can have, I think everything is about like positioning and value, right? So for example, like let's say within your facility, you bring on somebody that understands like how to run Facebook and Instagram ads to get your people on your booth a lot more exposure, right? Now you're educating them on that. You're putting them on games so that they can make a lot more money while doing the normal stuff that they have doing. They just have enough content that can run on autopilot 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're helping them become a well-oiled machine so they no longer have to go out and hunt. They no longer have to go do all these things. And you're empowering them to like really build a business from scratch while literally only being at a booth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
You're bringing them a lot of value. And that value for me, if like let's say, for example, I'm able to charge more, I'm able to make more, but you're hitting me with like an additional $300 to $400 a month. I'm going to pay that because it's worth it. My return on that investment is worth it.
Oh yeah.
Right. But a lot of times people don't see that. They just say it's like, oh, it's going to cost me. No, it's not going to cost you. You're investing into making more. Your ROI is, your return on your investment is better than what you're giving out.
Exactly. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get, man. 100%. That's it. So I'm going to actually.
Man, we're over here giving free game. Like,
I'm going to charge. This we're going to have to have a subscription for this one. We're just going to have to pour it out. There's so many things I want to do, like down the line. I want to do like maybe a different extension of this where I do go a little deeper and stuff, a little more personal, but you know, it's a subscription business.
Yeah.
And, you know, eventually we'll talk more about that. But right now I wanted to just do this quick rapid fire, like Q&A.
Let's do it.
And then we'll just end it with that. But, you know, appreciate, you know, all the gems because I'm over here taking notes in my head right now. My brain is hurting, but we're working. All right. So first question, what qualities are you looking for in a woman? That's literally the first question.
Man, that's a tough one right now because I feel like I just literally came out from a relationship, so I feel like anything that I say is just gonna be twisted. But
you know what's crazy? That people are probably expecting us to talk about that, and it's like literally the last fucking question we're asking.
Literally, my like I will go into this real quick, but I dropped a video and I called it my truth, and it was just me talking about my mental health and stuff like that. But I feel like the reason why it got clicked so much was because people were expecting me to talk about.
Again, we were talking about the entertainment side, right? People want to be nosy.
Yeah. I would say definitely like goal oriented, you know, disciplined, and have their own thing going on, you know, because I think I feel like I'm a high value man, so I would want a high value woman, you know, that has similar characteristics so that we can build together and just kind of grow. Right.
You got to be eye to eye for sure. This could be a quick answer because I think like this whole episode defines this question. So what gets you up every day in the morning that motivates you to wake up and do what you do every day?
You know, obviously my biggest one is going to be my kids, but you know, just passionate about being able to wake up and just kind of see my dream life just come to life, you know.
Okay. I love that. Words to live by if you're a dad, and goal oriented for sure. So what advice would you give a young teen starting on a social media platform?
I would say network. I would say network is the fastest way, you know, in terms of growing, and you know, be willing to like give up some time. If you don't have anything other than time, give up that time to be able to be close to people that can, you know, help you and make you aware of the things that are possible out there. You know, always be a student of the game.
Nice. Definitely do your homework, guys. Like, student of the game. You guys always got to be learning, man. Don't let your ego get in the way.
Yeah.
But that's a quick rapid fire. So before we end it, I have my little Needed Podcast Wall of Fame over there. So what I want you to do is give me your autograph and then something that you live by. It doesn't have to be anything long. I feel like this whole episode, you know, has so many things. So just something that's going to stick with the crowd. What'd you put on there?
So I put, you're only as good as your bad habits. So I think that's one of the things that I've been, has been really on my mind, you know, like your ability to perform in the bad times is only going to be as good as your bad habits.
Yes. Got to practice what you preach. You know what 100%. I'm saying? You can't really be the type of person. I'm going to take you serious if you're going to tell me something, but your actions do otherwise, you know? So love that. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
We definitely got to like do this again. I know, you know, people are going to be asking for this. So this one was heat for sure.
I had a lot of fun.
You know, I mean, that's the whole goal of the podcast, to bring people on that have that similar mindset, dig a little deeper, you know, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I, you know, appreciate you opening up about different topics. I don't know if you were open about a lot of that stuff in your platform, but you know,
kind of, yeah, to an extent.
Okay, cool. So
I think one of the things that I like to do before kind of like ending something is like just giving people their flowers, because I think a lot of times people wait till somebody is gone to be able to do that. You know, I want to thank you for like taking the time to do something like this. You know what I mean? Because it's not just entertainment. It's not just for your own personal benefit. Like, people can literally make life-changing decisions just by hearing your content, by hearing your podcast. And those are the important things that you should seek in the people that you consume content from, because he's a leader in his community. So because of that, you're going to be able to become a better person and a better individual moving forward as you go out and you chase your dreams. So I just want to congratulate you for that, bro. And you know, thank you for having me. And, you know, keep doing your thing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And, you know, we'll just end it with that. Like I said, man, hopefully you guys found value. There's tons of gems in here. Make sure you guys comment your favorite. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video, follow your social media guy. I'm going to tag all his stuff. Much love, and we'll see you guys next time.